I just got off the phone with one of my parents, and I was sharing with them the most important thing that you need to do as a teacher of your own children. And that is, above all else, I have used these strategies for over 20 years of teaching in the education field. I have also my master's degree in education, specifically curriculum development and instruction. And let me tell you, there is nothing more important than reading with your children. That means that if you do nothing else throughout the day, if you do everything else besides this, you will have missed the mark. Because when you take time to read with your kids, you are developing with them, number one, that education matters, that reading matters, that learning matters. Because you take the time, and I'm not saying send them off by themselves. You should do that. There's a time for that because there are different kinds of reading throughout the day. But you have to sit down and read with your kids. That is key. Number two, after you read with your kids, they need to have time reading on their own. And that means for kindergartners, it's approximate reading. It's pretend reading, if you want to call it that. They use pictures in order to develop their ability to imagine what's happening in the story. And if they're able to add words to it, that's great. Encourage them to use dialogue. And then number three, besides you reading with them, which means you read to them and ask questions, then number two, them reading on their own. Number three, when you read, you want to make sure that you read some nonfiction books. That means you want to read things on how to do things. For instance, I just got off the call with a mother whose little guy loves to read. But loves to do art. So I suggested to her, read some books on art. If he likes to draw cartoon pictures, grab a book that says how to draw cartoons and do that. Encourage him to try it out. If your little one loves to garden, grab a book on how to garden. And then take some time to learn a little bit about their favorite topics. Those three things, those three ways all about reading books will help your child more than anything else that you do throughout your curriculum. And then from there, day in and day out, you can develop and grow things birthed out of those reading books. For instance, maybe he loves to read and maybe he loves to mountains. Maybe he even likes to climb or to walk. And you could take him for a mountain hike after reading a book about hiking up to mountains. You could look at some of the plants that are up in the mountain and say, oh, I wonder if there are any books about this. That will develop their oral language skills. That will develop their reading capability and their comprehension. That will help them in their developing questions. All of these things spurn and are sprouted out of a love of learning that develops naturally when you have such development in your reading. All right, guys, I hope you enjoy this. Be blessed.